What is up, you sexy mother hubbards? I believe we're now on day 3 or day 4 of Neanderthal Gate.
The riot over claims of Islamophobia in the Conservative Party, and that deepens today.
We're very much in the period now where people describe the story as having deepened. Are you familiar with that? I took the mick out of it a couple of weeks ago on a different Punk Politics or alternative paper review. Do you remember when there was the talk of, like, the racist royal? Like, which royal was it who asked how dark the baby's skin colour was going to be? Who is the mystery racist royal? And then, like, after day 2 or day 3, like, once they've said what was apparently said, then they need to find a way to extend the story, don't they?
And that deepens today.
So then they start talking about, oh, who else was at the meeting? What does this pundit think about the thing? The racist royal row deepens. The Labour anti-Semitism scandal deepens. Anyway, with the whole Leanderson Islamophobia racism thing, we're now in that territory. We've now got salivating, hungry Fleet Street hacks scrambling around for other examples of Tory Islamophobia. And I suppose for those guys, it is very much a good news day because there are many examples of Tory Islamophobia. Anyway, as the row deepens, as more people and institutes and bodies are asked their opinion on what does or does constitute Islamophobia, none of them are Muslim, by the way. I don't know why we're asking all of these white, Christian, straight, white men what they think about whether this is or is not Islamophobia. But anyway, the latest one of these is obviously, you know, it's a Tory minister. He's been sent out on the rounds, and Nick Ferrari has asked him the question, you know, whether this is racism, whether this is Islamophobia, and this is his interview. Let's take a watch, shall we? Together? Let's do this. Little watch party, just me and you.
Why was it necessary for Lee Anderson to have the whip suspended? Where was the tolerance there?
I love even like the disingenuousness of the question. Why was it necessary to withdraw the whip from Lee Anderson?
Where was the tolerance there?
Where was the tolerance there, Minister? Like, you already know why it was necessary to withdraw the whip, Nick. Because he said Islamists had taken control of London and had taken control of Khan, and Khan had just given the city away to all of his mates. I mean, if you transplant that sort of talk out of Islam and then move it over to Judaism, suddenly you've got a problem.
Where was the tolerance there?
Well, Nick, respectfully, I think what Lee said was wrong.
He thinks what Lee said was wrong.
What Lee said was wrong.
What do you think he's going to do next? Is he going to go off script, off piste? Because this is the same line that CCHQ have been briefing all of their ministers and representatives to come out with. They'll say that it was wrong, what Lee Anderson said, but they won't say why.
What Lee said was wrong.
Was it wrong because Islamists are not taking over London?
Wrong.
Maybe it was wrong because there's no evidence to suggest that Sadiq Khan is giving away the city to all of his mates.
Yeah. And as a result of what he said, he had the whip removed from him.
So it was wrong, not because something was factually, inaccurately, politically or culturally incorrect about it, or at least that's what you think. You think that there was nothing actually inaccurate about it. It was just the fact that it upset somebody at CCHQ. And so that's why you had the whip withdrawn.
As a result of what he said, he had the whip removed from him.
Okay. All right.
That's
what was it
action.
specifically that meant the whip had to go?
Oh, Nick Ferrari. Nick Ferrari with his Clark Kent glasses. He's taken a break from asking everybody what is a woman to run into a phone box, do a little twirl, and then re-enter the studio as a Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist, apparently.
We agree it was wrong, but why was it wrong?
Nick, it was wrong. What Lee
but why was
said,
it wrong?
What he said was wrong. As a result of what he said, the whip was removed from him. That was robust action.
No, but why was it wrong?
I love it. I love the balls on the table, just arrogant, bullheaded perseverance of just sticking to your line.
It was wrong, Nick, because of what he said, and robust action was taken as a result.
Let's try this a different way. Was it Islamophobic?
What he said was wrong.
It was wrong. It was wrong because of what he said, and it was wrong because then the whip had to be withdrawn. And the reason that the whip had to be withdrawn was because it was wrong, what he said. And we know that because the whip was shortly withdrawn afterwards because what he said was so wrong.
And robust action was taken, and the whip was removed within 24 hours.
Minister, was it Islamophobic?
And Nick, it was wrong.
They're so tragic, aren't they? I mean, he even says there, Ferrari says, look, you're a well-educated man. You know, you probably studied pure maths, physics, law, or political philosophy at Oxford or Cambridge. I'm confident that having sat through the exams that you've sat through, I'm confident you could probably answer this question with a yes or no.
Was it Islamophobic?
And Nick, it was wrong.
I truly believe that's within your skill set, Minister.
And Nick, it was wrong.
And yet, somehow, like every time they end up with these, like, really educated individuals sat on the broadcast rounds, just witlessly regurgitating the same, like, 2 or 3 talking points. There was robust action.
And robust action was taken.
The whip was withdrawn.
The whip was removed from him.
And Lee Anderson was wrong.
And Nick, it was wrong.
To say that. Just remember those 3 things.
It was wrong. Wrong. Was wrong. Wrong. The whip removed. The whip was removed. That's
But
robust
what was it?
and robust
No, we're going-
action. That was robust action.
It was wrong.
Have you got it? Are you sure? Say it back to me. Lee Anderson was wrong. Robust action. The whip was withdrawn very, very quickly. Good. Now, here's a cookie. Now, clap for me. Clap for me.
Let's try this a different way. Was it Islamophobic?
What he said was wrong.
Here's another one. Here, have a fish now. Now, do a little dance.
And robust action was taken, and the whip was removed within 24 hours.
Minister, was it Islamophobic?
And Nick, it was wrong.
Minister, I'm going to, and I'm normally a very polite man. I'm actually going to effectively put the fact. I'll ask you now for the 3rd time. I've asked you 6 times why it was necessary. For the 3rd time, was it Islamophobic?
Nick, it was wrong.
I'll have to curtail the interview there. I'm grateful for your time, but enough already. Michael Tomlinson is the Minister of State for Illegal Migration, unable to answer a question.
Like, the thing that always gets me is not that they have these answers kind of pre-prepped and spoon-fed to them. Like, that's kind of part of political messaging, marketing, PR. It's just the world that we live in. But it's just the arrogance and sluggishness of the way that they perform, you know? They've been wheeling out this same line now for like 48 hours. They've been saying, no, look, it was wrong what he said. Everybody on Twitter was saying yesterday, like, oh, isn't it funny how they keep saying it's wrong, but they can't say specifically why it was wrong? People on yesterday morning's news rounds and paper reviews were saying, hang on, how can they say that it's wrong, but say that it's not racist or Islamophobic? Like, those 2 positions do not work together. And you know how I know that people were saying it yesterday? Because I fucking said it yesterday. So it's not the fact that they prep these lines that I find ridiculous or jarring or insulting. It's the fact that they move so slowly. Like, they've put this guy out on the news rounds this morning. He must have known that people were going to go, well, you keep saying it's wrong. Why was it wrong then? Like, at no point in his pre-interview in his sort of role play, in his prep, did nobody actually sit down and then go like, yeah, what if they ask him why it was wrong? You know, like all of these people are doing online, like all these comedians and satirists are taking a mick out of 24 hours ago.
Wrong. Whip.
Apart from anything else, right, this guy is an illegal migration minister, right? So his brief, day to day, when he's not doing the news rounds, his whole thing is looking into illegal migration. People sneaking in the back of lorries, people marrying in sham marriages to get the visa, stowaways, people smugglers. That is his brief, right? Just consider that for a moment. Given the nature of immigration, the era that we're living in, the rhetoric that we're bombarded with every day about refugees, asylum seekers, immigrants. If you were going to put someone in charge of illegal migration, would you ever dream of putting a guy in charge of that who didn't know the difference between a bit wrong is wrong and absolute racism and Islamophobia? Like, I would think that's maybe point 1, point 2, definitely top 3 attributes you would be looking for on a CV for that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.